Welcome back, dear students, to this other video on the programming part databases where we are focusing on structured query language. In this video, we are going to look at the select command and how to properly use it based on the different queries we are going to answer together. But before that, it is very important for us to know what the SQL select command is all about and the different syntax we use with it. A select statement retrieves data from a database and returns it in the form of query result. As a reminder, the exact format of the query result will vary from one SQL product to another. Very important. The simplest syntax for a select command is, so this is the simplest syntax we have for a select command. That is select, you put the different fields, from, you put the table name. It can be one table, it can be many table. But in this video, we are focusing on single table queries. That is query where you are extracting data from a single table. As you saw in the program outline, we are going to move in the subsequent videos. We are also going to look at joins. That is where we extract data from two or more tables. The above syntax will return a table comprising of the fields field 1, field 2 up to field n. So based on the fields you are going to put here, those are the fields you will have in the table containing the result of your query. And those fields will be extracted from the table that you will precise at this level with available data. Take note that a query, the result of a query can be a table which is completely null, that is empty, because the different criteria you might have proposed do not match with the value present in the table where you are extracting the data. If we want to select all the columns at once, we will use the star operator as shown below. So this syntax is when I want to select particular fields. But if I want to select all the fields of a table, then I use the star operator, that is select star from, I precise the table name where the extraction is supposed to be done. Also, for a table comprising of redundant values for some fields, that is, there are some fields where the values keeps on repeating themselves. Like for example, a table where the field contains an enum, that is, it has a specific number of fields. If you want to extract only these different unique instances of this field, then we use the distinct keyword as given below. So we shall have select distinct. We put the different fields and we present a table where we are extracting. But in majority of the cases, select distinct goes when we are, for example, is for a particular field. Now, what do we have? We need to know what query clauses are all about. Several components or clauses makes up the select statement, because remember we said that this is the simplest syntax that we have. It means that what there are variety of syntax for the select statement, and the complexity of the select statement comes when there are more clauses that are being added. So while only one of them is mandatory when using MySQL, like the select clause, you will usually include at least two or three of the six available clauses, because there are many clauses you need to know. And these are the different clauses. You have the select, which is used to determine which column, that is the field, to include in the query result. We have from, which identify the table, because I say that we can use from this syntax. Table name does not mean that it's only one table, it can be several tables. Just that for this case, we focus on single query table. So the from is used to identify the tables from which we retrieve data and how the tables should be joined. Where is used to filter unwanted data. We also have grouping by, which is used to group rows together by common column values. We also have having, which is used to filter out unwanted groups. Then we also have the order by, which is used to sort the rows of the final result set by one or more columns. So these are the clauses we have for the select command. With these different clauses, the general syntax for the select command will be, so I have select, I put the different fields, from, I specify the table, where I put the searching condition, group by, I precise the columns I'm using to group the result of the query, then having, I specify another search condition, then order by, I specify the sort specification, that is by what am I sorting the values, and at the end now the sorting is either in ascending order or in descending order. So if it is ascending order, you precise ASC for ascending. If it is descending order, DESC for descending. And tell note that not precising any of them, by default, your result will be ordered in ascending order. So this is a summary of what you need to know about the select statement when it comes to single query extraction of data. Now, let us look at an example to properly understand, to properly write these select queries. Using SQL, create the table below and add the records as seen on table 2. So this is our table 1 that contains different fields, the data type, and the constraint, as you can see. Then we have the table with the value, that is student ID, the name, and all the rest. First of all, we see that student ID is not an integer, as you can see, because it contains text value. So we are going to use a varchar of size 6. So that is what we have. Then it says string, student name is a string, that is string values. Age, an integer, correct. Enrollment date, a date. Department, enum, because the only values accepted are computer science, physics, mathematics, and chemistry. Then we have GPA, which is a float, as you can see. And then we have is graduated, which is a boolean, either yes or no. Remember that yes is similar to true, and then no is similar to false. And now there's constraint we were given where student ID is primary key, student name is not null, IH is not null and must be above 17, the department should not be null, then the GPA must be in between 0 and 4 inclusively. That is what we have. So let us proceed to our warm server and create this table and populate as specified in table 2. So we are on our warm server, MySQL. In the video on create command, I show you how to open the local host based on the WAM server. That is how to open from the WAM server. And for those of you who do not have the setup for the WAM server, just indicate in the comment section with your WhatsApp number so that I can text you privately and send you the, the setup. Or you can send the number you are using for Telegram, where I can equally send you the setup for you to install and proceed. Okay. In the last video, in the insert statement, this is where we ended. We had these three different tables that were created: department, employee, high school, and we principally use high school for insertion of data. I think, yes, these are the two data we inserted. Mbele Ima, one of my best students I had. Shobo Maeva, yes. So this what we did in the previous video. Now, in this video, we had as exercise to create a table of students, and the different fields and the constraint were equally given. So let us look at it and answer the question properly. So in order to create a table, it is the create command. So create table, which table? Student. Now what do I have? I have student ID. Let me write it properly. Student ID varchar 6, not null primary key. Then we have student name, which is a varchar. I'm going to say, for example, 25. And they say it should not be null, so not null. From there, I have the age, which is an integer, and there's a constraint. And remember, in the last video, we said they are specified. It is always good that when a constraint is given, you give a name to that constraint, because we shall use that in the alter command, because we are going to come across cases where we need to remove a particular constraint from a field. So in this video, I'm going to direct you, because there is nothing difficult. We saw that in the video we made on the create command. To add a constraint, you simply use the keyword check. But to give a name to the constraint, you simply need to say constraint, you give now the name. So I will advise you, dear members of the Byte family, that when you want to give a name to the constraint, you add there the name of the field, then you precise test or you precise check. It depends on you. Then from there now you have check. Once you have check, it will be, what are we checking? They say the age, because this should match with this. You say the age should be above 17. Then what do we have again? We have enrollment date. enrollment date, which is a date. We have department, which is an enum, and the different values. We have computer science, we have physics, we have mathematics, and finally chemistry, and it is not null. From there, what do we have? GPA, which is a float, and we also have a constraint for it, which is, I will say, GPA, sorry, GPA test. Check that the GPA, because they say the GPA should be in between 0 and 4 inclusively, so the GPA should be greater than or equals to 0, and the GPA again should be less than or equals to 4. That is what we have. So here is not consistent, it is constrained. Good. So that is the GPA float. Then we give the name of the constraint. Then we check that GPA should be in between 0 and 4. And between 0 and 4 means that what? It should be above 0 and below 4, but they precise inclusively. So 0 can be among as well as 4. So the last field now is enrolled, which is a boolean. And I'm done. That is what we have. Copy my query. So now if I run this, error. You have an error in your SQL syntax. Check the manual that corresponds to your MySQL server. No, 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 no. They say a comma. 5 errors were found here now. A comma or a closing bracket was expected near constraint at position 131. Yes, a comma is needed here. No. Age integer. Let us see. So if I run this, a reserved keyword cannot be a column name. Correct. So the comma is not supposed to be there. So let us see. Enrollment date. Correct. GPA float constraint. GPA test. Near 17. Let's see. We say run SQL queries on a table high school. So maybe it's because I am inside a table. So let me cut it. And I will instead enter the SQL test. Let me enter the database, correct. So now if I put this back, I have my age, my constraint is down, the GPA constraint is down. So if I run this, I have the same errors. You have an error. Let us check the errors again, because I thought the error was because we were writing the code inside a table. Here they say a comma or a closing bracket was expected near constraint. Or closing bracket. So let's see. So if I run this, now I have 4 errors. So this 2 should be in between brackets. And it's okay. Closing bracket was expected near the semicolon. So if I run now, you have an error in SQL syntax. Check the manual that corresponds. So constraint test, age test, first bracket, second, third, fourth. So at this level, yes, so here is supposed to be a comma, not a semicolon. So normally these brackets are not even supposed to be there. The brackets are not supposed to be there. Let us see, because I think the error here was at the level of the semicolon I had. So if I run this now, query is okay. So now the table student has been created with all the fields. So now let us test the different constraints to see whether they took. For the age, they specify that the age should be above 17. So if I enter 15, so you see how they say now, they say check constraint age test is violated. So is that what they are precising now the name of the constraint, whereas they have precised there is an error with the constraint. So now if I come for example here and I put 18, and I come on GP and I put 6.8, and they say check constraint GPA test is violated. So we are okay, the constraint has been respected. So let us go now and insert data into the table using SQL. So now you see that you are running our SQL query inside the table student. So I will have insert into student values. So for the first record that we have, it is std001. The name, we have Nguma, so it's a text. So I have Nguma Anita. For the age 19. Enrollment date, inserting the date should be in between these quotes. So I have the year, followed by the month, followed by the day. Then I have the department, which is chemistry. Then I have the GPA, which is 3.1. And finally, is graduated? No, so I put false. Let me copy this. So now if I run this query, let us see now the record in the table student. That's the record. As you can see, is enrolled 0. So you see that here it has represented false as 0, but everything is okay. That is what we have. So now let us proceed now to multiple insert.